The stars above Alpha Colony were calm, shining across the black sea of space. People in the colony city lived their normal lives. Children played under the artificial domes, miners worked in the rich tunnels, and traders sent cargo ships toward Earth. No one expected that peace would end in a single moment. It began with a shadow. From the edge of the system, giant shapes emerged. At first, sensors believed they were asteroids. Then they moved with purpose. Dozens of alien warships broke through the darkness, their hulls glowing with strange blue markings. Each ship was larger than any human vessel. On the colony's main screens, the alien fleet filled the skies. Then came the message. A deep, harsh voice thundered across every frequency, shaking the air with raw power. Humans, you are trespassers. Alpha is ours. Leave at once, or your species will be erased. The people of Alpha froze in terror. Parents grabbed their children. Soldiers on the ground locked their weapons, but they knew they could not fight warships in orbit. The Alien Council had spoken with no fear, no hesitation. On Earth, the command halls erupted in panic. Generals stared at the feeds showing the alien fleet. The ships were massive, bristling with weapons that looked ancient yet powerful. One officer whispered the words that many feared to say, "If they can take Alpha, they can take Earth." The human high command ordered the fleet to launch. From Earth's orbit, heavy cruisers, destroyers, and carriers fired their engines. Soldiers filled troop transports. The largest ship, the battleship Iron Resolve, led the charge. Humanity would not abandon Alpha without a fight. Back on the colony, fear turned to courage. Broadcasts spread across Alpha, showing images of the fleet leaving Earth. Civilians cheered through their fear, whispering the same hope: humanity always fights back. But the Alien Council was not impressed. Inside their command ship, alien leaders watched humans prepare for war. Their faces were strange, tall with silver skin and black unblinking eyes. They laughed, their voices echoing through the chamber. "They send metal coffins against us," one alien lord hissed. "Let them come. Their blood will mark the soil of Alpha." The alien fleet began forming into attack formations, their massive dreadnoughts at the center. Plasma weapons charged with deadly light, casting shadows across the colony below. When the human fleet finally entered Alpha's orbit, the stars lit with fire. Every camera across the galaxy caught the sight. Two fleets facing each other, locked in silence before the storm. The humans were outnumbered and outgunned, but their ships held formation. Inside, soldiers strapped themselves into combat chairs, praying and waiting for the order. On the Iron Resolve, Captain Elias Ford stood tall on the bridge. His voice was calm, but his crew saw the fire in his eyes. "Transmit to all ships. Alpha is human. We will hold the line." The first shot was fired by the aliens. A beam of plasma tore through space, striking a human destroyer. The ship exploded in a ball of light, scattering debris across the stars. The battle had begun. Human ships answered with railguns and nuclear warheads. Missiles streaked toward the alien dreadnoughts, detonating with bright fury. Space shook with thunder. Alien shields shimmered under the impacts, but cracks began to show. On the ground, colonists watched the sky turn into a storm of burning metal. Children cried as flaming wreckage fell through the atmosphere. Marines guided civilians to shelters, their own eyes locked on the fight above. The aliens laughed again. Their plasma lances cut through human cruisers, ripping them apart like paper. Yet humanity did not retreat. Every time a ship was lost, another surged forward. Every soldier aboard knew this was not just a battle for Alpha. It was a battle for Earth's survival. Hours passed like minutes. The void was littered with fire, broken hulls, and drifting bodies. Still, the human fleet held. Still, Alpha stood. Inside the alien command ship, the Council grew restless. The humans fought harder than expected, refusing to fall. The silver-skinned leader slammed his clawed hand on the command table. "End this," he ordered. "Unleash the weapon." From deep within the alien flagship, massive energy coils began to glow. Power levels spiked, and a dark hum spread across the battlefield. Human sensors screamed warnings. Whatever the aliens were preparing was not a simple plasma cannon. On the bridge of the Iron Resolve, Captain Ford's crew stared in shock. The readings showed an energy surge far beyond anything humanity had seen before. "Captain," the science officer whispered, "if they fire that, our fleet will not survive." Ford clenched his fists. His eyes locked on the alien flagship as the weapon's light grew brighter, threatening to consume the stars. The crew waited, holding their breath. Across Alpha, every human heart froze. Then the alien weapon began to charge, and the battle for Alpha turned into a fight for the survival of humanity itself. The alien weapon glowed brighter with every second, casting a deadly light across Alpha's skies. Colonists looked up in horror as the alien flagship prepared to fire. Human crews braced for impact, whispering silent prayers. Then the weapon unleashed its fury. A massive beam of white-hot energy tore through the void. The first human cruiser caught in its path disintegrated instantly, its hull melting before the crew could even scream. The beam swept across the formation, slicing through 2 more ships. Entire crews were erased in a heartbeat. On the bridge of the Iron Resolve, alarms screamed. Captain Elias Ford's eyes narrowed as the devastation filled the screen. He refused to let fear break his voice. "All ships, scatter formation! Keep moving. Do not give them a clean shot." Human vessels broke apart like shards of glass, dodging plasma fire and the terrifying beam. Railguns fired in rapid bursts. Missiles streaked through the void, and torpedoes detonated with thunder. Each hit shook the alien shields, forcing the enemy to adjust. The aliens mocked humanity's defiance. Inside the alien command ship, the Council's silver-skinned leader tilted his head, his black eyes glowing. "They fight like insects, but insects cannot stop the storm." He ordered his fleets forward. Alien warships advanced in tight formation, their weapons spitting fire. Plasma lances hammered through the battlefield, each strike a sunburst of destruction. But humanity struck back with something the aliens had never faced before: relentless willpower. One human destroyer, already burning from enemy fire, turned its damaged thrusters toward a massive alien cruiser. Its captain's final words echoed across the comms. "For Alpha, for Earth." The destroyer rammed straight into the alien ship, detonating in a fiery blast. The alien vessel erupted, breaking apart into flaming wreckage. For the first time, silence fell on the alien council chamber. Their laughter stopped. Their eyes narrowed with unease. These humans did not retreat, even in certain death. Colonists hiding beneath Alpha's domes watched the fiery battle overhead. Some cried, others prayed, but many stood tall, whispering the same words: "Humanity fights back." Back in orbit, the human fleet pressed harder. Railgun rounds smashed into alien dreadnoughts, puncturing their glowing armor. Missiles detonated in rapid waves, forcing the aliens to divert shields. Fighters darted between giant ships, their cannons burning into enemy hulls. Yet the alien superweapon continued to fire. Each blast tore another hole in the human line. Bodies drifted through space, silent and cold. Entire crews were lost, but the rest of the fleet pressed forward. Humanity had no choice but to fight. On the Iron Resolve, Ford gripped the railing. His crew's faces were pale, but their eyes burned with determination. "Target their flagship," Ford commanded. "If we can break the head, the body will fall." The fleet adjusted, focusing fire on the alien superweapon ship. Wave after wave of nuclear missiles streaked forward, detonating against its shields. Bright shockwaves rippled across its hull, forcing cracks into its armor. Inside the alien command ship, the Council's leader hissed in anger. Their desperation grows. "Crush them all!" But cracks began to spread faster than they expected. One of the alien commanders shouted in alarm. "Shields weakening. They're primitive weapons. They should not be this strong." The alien leader snarled, refusing to admit fear. "Strength means nothing. They will die with their world." Then, against all odds, one of humanity's nuclear missiles slipped through a shield gap. It struck deep into the alien flagship's side, igniting a massive explosion. The shockwave hurled smaller ships away, tearing armor and splitting decks. For the first time, alien screams echoed across their own channels. On the ground, Alpha's colonists erupted in cheers. They saw the great alien flagship wounded. Hope surged in human hearts. Maybe, just maybe, they could win. But the moment was short-lived. The alien flagship did not fall. Instead, a deep rumble spread through space as its systems activated something new. Strange signals pulsed from the ship, spreading across the entire battlefield. Human sensors scrambled with interference. Screens flickered, controls malfunctioned, and targeting systems went blind. Pilots shouted warnings as their ships spun out of control. Captain Ford slammed his hand on the console. "What did they just do?" The science officer's voice trembled. "Sir, it is not just interference. They are sending a signal to Alpha itself." On the colony below, the ground shook. The earth cracked open as strange energy pulses surged through the soil. Ancient machinery hidden under Alpha's crust began to glow. Marines stationed on the surface reported massive tremors. One soldier shouted through the comms, "Something is waking up beneath us." Ford's eyes widened. His fleet was being torn apart in space, and now the colony itself was in danger of something far worse. Above Alpha, the alien flagship stabilized its weapon. The energy coils began to glow again, brighter than before, ready for another devastating blast. Human ships tried to regroup, but with systems scrambled, they were vulnerable. The iron resolve shook as plasma fire ripped past its hull. Colonists clung to each other in bunkers, listening to the sounds of battle above and the quakes below. Fear spread like wildfire. The alien leader raised his hand, his black eyes shining with triumph. "Fire again," he ordered, and as the weapon roared to life, the humans realized they had seconds left before Alpha itself was consumed in fire. The alien flagship's weapon burned brighter, swallowing the stars in its glow. Every human ship braced for the next strike. The colonists on Alpha clutched each other as the ground shook, praying that Earth's fleet could hold. Then the beam fired. A torrent of energy ripped across the void. It struck the Iron Resolve's flank, tearing through armor, splitting decks, and hurling crew members into the coal black. Men and women screamed as flames and sparks filled the corridors. Two smaller ships behind it were hit full force, and they vanished in a blinding burst of white light. The battlefield went silent for a moment, as if the galaxy itself had stopped breathing. Hundreds of human lives had been erased in seconds. Inside the alien command ship, the council leader smiled. His black eyes reflected the weapon's glow. "See how easily they fall. Humanity will be nothing more than ash in the void." But on the Iron Resolve, Captain Elias Ford staggered to his feet, blood streaking his forehead. His crew looked to him, desperate, waiting for a sign of strength. Ford's voice thundered through the smoke-filled bridge. "We will not break. Redirect all fire on their flagship. Make them bleed." Human ships turned, guns roaring in defiance. Railgun slugs hammered against the alien shields, nuclear warheads streaked like blazing comets, and fighters darted in waves. The alien flagship trembled under the assault, its shimmering armor finally cracking. One alien officer shouted in alarm, "Counselor! Their weapons should not be able to breach us." The leader snarled, "Then they will die ramming our hulls if they must. End them now." And humanity did just that. The destroyer Valiant Dawn, its engines failing and hull burning, turned directly toward the alien flagship. Its captain, face calm in the face of certain death, gave one last order: set course. Full throttle. All power to the reactor. We are humanity's shield. The Valiant Dawn rammed into the alien flagship with unstoppable force. The explosion was a blinding storm of light and flame, ripping into the alien ship's side. Whole sections of its hull burst apart, scattering fragments across the battlefield. For the first time, the alien council panicked. Their great flagship shook violently, alarms blaring across their command chamber, but the humans' sacrifice unleashed more than destruction. As the flames died, strange energy surged from Alpha's surface. A pulse of light swept across space, striking both fleets. Human and alien alike stared at their sensors in shock. Something ancient had awakened below the colony. On the ground, Alpha shook violently. The earth split open, revealing vast metallic structures buried deep within the crust. Towers of steel and stone rose, glowing with forgotten power. Symbols older than Earth's history lit up across the ruins. Human marines rushed toward the site, their armored boots pounding against trembling soil. Sergeant Marcus Hale led the charge, his voice crackling through comms. "Command, this is Hale. Something is waking up down here. It's not alien, it feels human." The words sent shockwaves through Earth Command. How could something human be hidden on Alpha, a colony barely a century old? In orbit, Ford's science officer paled as he read the signals. "Captain, these transmissions, they are in Earth's oldest languages. Systems from before the Unification Wars." "This is impossible," Ford's jaw tightened. "Then Alpha is not just a colony. It is a vault." The Alien Council heard the same transmissions. Panic spread through their ranks. One of the silver-skinned officers hissed in fear. "It cannot be. They should not know of Helios." The leader bared his teeth. "Destroy it. Burn Alpha to the ground before they awaken what sleeps below." Alien warships broke formation, descending toward the planet. Plasma cannons charged, aiming at the colony domes and the ruins that pulsed with strange light. Marines on the surface raised their eyes as fire rained from above. Anti-orbital strikes lit the sky, tearing through mountains and forests. Hale shouted to his squad, "Move! Get inside the ruins. If this is human tech, it's our only hope." Explosions shook the ground as the soldiers forced their way into the ancient structures. Dust fell from massive stone doors, doors that opened as if welcoming their descendants home. Inside, the ruins glowed with machines still alive after thousands of years. The Marines stared in awe. Holograms flickered, showing Earth stars and wars long forgotten. One terminal lit with human script, Project Helios, for humanity's darkest hour. Sergeant Hale whispered, "What in God's name did our ancestors hide here?" In orbit, the human fleet bled. Half their ships were gone, and the alien flagship's weapon was charging again. Ford knew the next shot could end them all. "Hold the line," he growled. "We need time for the Marines." Alien laughter echoed once more across the comms. "You cannot stop us. Your fleet dies here." The flagship's coils glowed brighter than ever, preparing to unleash another storm. But this time, the ancient ruins answered. A wave of energy surged from Alpha, blasting upward into space. It struck the alien flagship, making its weapon stutter. For a heartbeat, the impossible happened. The superweapon failed to fire. The humans gasped in disbelief. The aliens roared in fury. Then deep beneath Alpha, the ruins rumbled again. Something vast was still waiting to awaken, and both sides knew, whatever it was, it could change the war forever. The battlefield above Alpha was chaos. Human ships drifted in flames, alien warships pressed forward, and the superweapon on the alien flagship pulsed with unstable power. But on the surface of Alpha, something even more terrifying was happening. The ground split open as giant towers rose from the crust, glowing with ancient light. The ruins came alive with humming energy, casting a strange blue aura across the battlefield. Human marines inside the site stumbled as the massive stone doors sealed shut behind them. Sergeant Marcus Hale raised his rifle, scanning the shadows. His squad stood tense, weapons drawn. But instead of enemies, they found machines, vast consoles, holograms flickering, and walls covered with human markings. Private Ortiz whispered, "This place. It's human, thousands of years old, maybe more." Hale touched one of the glowing panels. The language was old, but the meaning was clear. "Project Helios, for humanity's darkest hour." The words chilled him. What did our ancestors know that we didn't? Above them, the Alien Council panicked. The leader slammed his clawed hand on the command table. "Destroy the ruins. Do not let them awaken it." Alien cruisers broke formation, diving toward the planet. Plasma cannons lit up the skies, firing directly at the ruins. But something impossible happened. As the first plasma blast struck, a glowing shield erupted around the ruins, stopping the fire dead in the air. The aliens stared in shock. Their most powerful weapons could not break through. Inside the ruins, the shield's energy pulsed down the halls. The Marines' radios crackled with static, then cleared, replaced by a cold mechanical voice. "Welcome, descendants of Earth. Project Helios awaits. Hale and his squad froze. The voice was not alien. It was human. On the Iron Resolve, Captain Ford watched the impossible unfold on his screens. Command, this is Ford. Alpha is not a colony. It's a fortress. Something ancient is buried here. Earth Command responded in disbelief. Captain, that is impossible. Humanity has never settled Alpha before. Ford's jaw tightened. Then someone lied. Or someone built this long before we were ready, the alien leader hissed in fury. If we cannot destroy it from above, we will send ground forces. Deploy the war beasts. Dropships thundered down through the skies, unleashing towering alien creatures bred for war. Their armored hides glistened as they charged toward the ruins. Tearing through human defenses like paper, Marines outside fought desperately, heavy machine guns roaring, missiles streaking across the field. Explosions lit the battlefield, but the aliens pressed forward, their beasts crushing soldiers underfoot. Inside, Hale's squad moved deeper into the ruins. Holograms activated around them, showing wars long before recorded history, battles where humans fought enemies that looked nothing like the current alien council. Warning, the ancient voice said. Enemy incursion detected. Defensive systems offline. Manual activation required, Hale swore under his breath. Manual activation. Great. They want us to push the button ourselves. Private Ortiz stepped closer to a console, hands trembling. Sergeant. If we turn this on, do we even know what it does? Hale looked back at the sealed doors, where booming sounds echoed as alien beasts hammered against the shield. Does it matter? If we don't, Alpha dies. Earth dies. The squad began working the consoles, guided by glowing symbols. Slowly, the machinery rumbled to life. Energy surged through the walls, the floor, and into the massive core of the ruins. In orbit, the alien flagship's weapon charged again, aiming directly at the human fleet. Ford saw it and shouted, "All ships, evasive maneuvers!" But the humans were too slow. The beam fired, sweeping across space. Another cruiser shattered, another destroyer torn in half. Screams filled the comms. At that same moment, the ruins' core exploded with light. A massive surge of energy blasted upward into orbit, striking the alien flagship. Its superweapon sputtered and failed again. Sparks tore across its hull. The alien council reeled in disbelief. What is this? What have they found? The leader hissed, his voice shaking with something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. On the ground, the shield protecting the ruins began to weaken as more alien war beasts struck against it. Cracks formed. Marines fired desperately, but their ammo was running low. Inside the ruins, Hale's squad reached the core chamber. A towering device stood before them, surrounded by glowing pillars of energy. It pulsed like a beating heart. The mechanical voice spoke again. To activate Helios, human DNA required. Authorization must be given by a descendant of Earth. The Marines looked at each other. Every one of them was human. Every one of them carried Earth in their blood. Hale stepped forward, placing his hand on the console. The machine scanned him, lights running across the surface. Then the core roared to life. The ruins began to shake. Outside, towers extended higher into the sky, glowing brighter than suns. The shield flickered once, then grew stronger, slamming the alien beasts back in a burst of energy. In orbit, Ford's screens lit with readings far beyond human understanding. His science officer gasped. "Captain, this isn't a weapon. It's a command system. It's waking something." Ford's eyes widened. "Something where?" The answer came as new signals appeared on the edge of the system. Massive shapes stirred in the darkness, hidden until now. Entire fleets, buried deep in Alpha's orbit, began to rise. Ancient human warships, silent for thousands of years, were coming online. The alien council stared in shock as the impossible unfolded and Alpha revealed its true face. Not a colony, but a graveyard of gods, now awakening for war. Alpha shook under fire. Alien plasma cannons rained from orbit, blasting craters into the surface. The ruins' shield still held, but every strike made it flicker. Outside the glowing towers, the battlefield turned into hell. Alien dropships slammed into the ground, unleashing war beasts and armored troops. The creatures stood twice the height of a man, their hides thick as steel, their claws dripping with acid. Behind them marched silver-skinned alien soldiers, weapons burning with plasma fire. The first wave hit hard. Human marines dug into trenches, their rifles spitting armor-piercing rounds. Explosions lit the battlefield, tearing into the alien advance. But the beasts did not stop. One charged straight through a hail of bullets, smashing into the front line. Marines screamed as its claws ripped through them. Sergeant Marcus Hale shouted into comms, "Hold the line! Protect the ruins at all costs!" His squad fired rockets, blasting one of the creatures back. It roared, half its body gone, but still crawled forward. A second rocket finally tore it apart, covering the battlefield in burning flesh. Yet more poured from the alien ships. The Marines were drowning in enemies. Inside the ruins, consoles glowed brighter as Project Helios continued to awaken. The ancient systems pulled power from deep within Alpha, sending energy surges across the planet. But it needed more time, and time was the one thing the Marines did not have. On the iron resolve above, Captain Ford saw the chaos unfolding. "If those Marines fall, Helios never activates," he said grimly. He turned to his fleet. "Send every available drop pod. Reinforce the ground." Across the battlefield, fire streaked from orbit as human reinforcements arrived. Pods slammed into the dirt, hatches bursting open, and fresh Marines charged into the fight. Heavy walkers rolled from transports, their cannons hammering alien beasts. The ground erupted in thunder. Rail rifles spat bursts of glowing rounds, tearing holes in alien armor. Marines screamed war cries, drowning out the roars of the beasts. Humanity fought with savage determination. The aliens, however, unleashed new horrors. From their dropships, they released crawling machines that scuttled on many legs. The machines dug into the soil, drilling beneath trenches, and exploded under human positions. Soldiers were thrown into the air, their screams cut short. Hale cursed. "They're trying to break our lines." Ortiz flanked left with the heavy gun. Ortiz and his team dragged a rail cannon into position. The weapon roared, sending slugs the size of cars into the alien machines, blowing them apart. For a moment the line held, but then the sky itself split. The alien flagship fired again, not at the ruins, but at the battlefield around them. Plasma beams carved through human ranks, vaporizing dozens of soldiers. The heat seared flesh and turned the ground to glass. Marines fell back, dragging their wounded, refusing to surrender. Above, Ford clenched his fists. "They're targeting our ground forces now. If we don't stop that weapon, Alpha is lost." His fleet moved to intercept, but the alien armada pressed them hard. For every alien ship destroyed, 3 more appeared to fill the gap. The humans were being stretched to breaking point. Back on the ground, Hale's comm crackled with a voice from the ruins. It was the ancient AI of Helios, warning. "Enemy incursion detected. Defensive systems offline. Authorization required," Hale shouted into his mic. "Then bring them online." "Activate anything you've got," the AI responded coldly. "Authorization must be given in person." "Core chamber access required," Hale swore. The ruins were under siege, and now they had to go deeper. He turned to his squad. "We fight our way in. Cover every angle. If we fall, humanity falls with us." The Marines pushed into the ruins, firing as they went. Alien beasts smashed against the shield outside, claws sparking as they tried to tear their way in. Every impact shook the chamber walls. Inside, Hale reached the core chamber once more. The towering device pulsed, demanding input. He slammed his hand against the console. "This is Sergeant Marcus Hale of the United Earth Marines. By my blood, I authorize Helios to awaken." The core scanned him, then roared to life. All across Alpha, the ruins responded. Towers sent beams of energy into the sky. The ground trembled as buried doors split open, revealing hangars filled with ancient war drones. Machines shaped like predators unfolded, their eyes glowing red, their weapons charging. The battlefield erupted as Helios unleashed its guardians. Dozens of drones streaked across the field. firing energy blasts that ripped alien beasts apart. Their shields deflected plasma fire, their claws tore through alien armor. For the first time, the tide shifted. The alien council watched in horror. This is not possible. Humans should not have this technology. But the truth was undeniable. Alpha's ancient defenders had awakened, and they were under human command. The Marines cheered as the drones carved a path through the alien horde. For a brief moment, hope returned. Then the ground shook again. A massive shadow fell across the ruins as something even larger descended from the alien flagship. A creature unlike the others landed with a deafening crash. Its body was covered in black armor, taller than a building, its eyes glowing with cruel intelligence. It roared, shaking the battlefield. Hale's squad froze. Even the drones hesitated. The Marines had never faced anything like this, and as the beast charged, they realized this fight had only just begun. The monster towered above the battlefield, its shadow stretching across the ruins. Alien soldiers fell back to give it room, and even the alien beasts lowered their heads before it. The creature stood like a titan, black armor fused to its body, glowing cracks running across its chest. Its roar shook the sky. Human Marines froze. Sergeant Marcus Hale raised his rifle, but he knew bullets would not stop something this size.
"Focus fire!"
he shouted. "Bring it down before it reaches the ruins." Dozens of rockets streaked toward the beast. Explosions engulfed it in smoke and flame. For a moment the soldiers dared to hope, but when the smoke cleared, the creature still stood. Its armor was cracked, but it only roared louder, charging straight through the barrage. It slammed its claw into a heavy walker, flipping the armored machine like a toy. Marines scrambled for cover as the beast crushed the walker underfoot. Its glowing eyes fixed on the ruin's shield, as if it knew the secret hidden within. Inside, the ancient AI of Helios spoke again, its voice calm in the chaos. "Warning. High-threat entity detected. Probability of human defeat, 97%. Additional assets required." Hale spat dirt from his mouth. "Then wake them. Whatever assets you've got, use them now." The AI paused, then responded. "Authorization confirmed." Releasing stored prototypes. From deep beneath the ruins, massive doors opened. Ancient war machines rose taller than tanks, their armored frames glowing with energy. These were not drones. They were weapons designed for extinction-level wars. The machines stepped onto the battlefield, their cannons roaring. Energy blasts slammed into the Titan, staggering it backward. The ground shook as ancient war machines and alien monsters collided in fire and blood. The Marines cheered, their spirits lifted. Humanity was no longer fighting alone. Above Alpha, Captain Ford's fleet fought desperately. The alien armada still pressed hard, their flagship, trying to charge its superweapon again. But now the ruins' energy pulsed upward, interfering with alien systems. Ford's science officer pointed at the screens. "Captain, the ruins are sending encrypted signals to us. They're not just defending Alpha, they're offering control." Ford's heart raced. "Are you saying Alpha's systems can link with our ships?" "Yes, sir. If we sink, we can tap into their power. But it's risky. If we fail, the link could overload and destroy us." Ford didn't hesitate. "Do it. Humanity doesn't win wars by playing safe." The connection activated. Suddenly, human ships lit with new energy. Their shields grew stronger, their weapons charged faster. Their targeting systems cut through alien jamming. The next human volley ripped through the alien fleet. A dreadnought exploded in a firestorm. Fighters darted faster than ever, tearing into alien lines. For the first time, the humans pushed the enemy back. Inside the alien flagship, the Council screamed in disbelief. They should not have this power. It was ours by right. But fear cracked through their arrogance. They had underestimated the humans again. On the ground, the Titan fought the ancient machines. It ripped one in half with its claws, roaring in triumph, but two more opened fire, blasting chunks from its armor. The Marines poured every bullet and rocket they had into its wounds. Still, it came on, unstoppable. The Titan smashed against the shield protecting the ruins. The barrier flared with light, but cracks spread across it. If the monster broke through, the Marines would be slaughtered before Helios was fully awakened. Hale grit his teeth. We can't hold forever. AI, tell me you've got something stronger. The AI's voice shifted, almost reverent. One final protocol remains. Project Helios primary arsenal. Activation possible. Warning. Deployment may destabilize planetary core. The Marines stared in shock. Destabilize the core? You mean blow up Alpha? Correct. But if activated selectively, planetary destruction can be avoided. Risk remains high. Hale's squad looked to him. The choice was impossible. Activate the arsenal and risk Alpha itself, or hold the line until they were crushed. Above, the alien flagship roared to life again. Its weapon coils glowed brighter than ever. This time, the shot was aimed not at the fleet, but directly at the planet. They meant to erase Alpha entirely. On the Iron Resolve, Captain Ford saw it. If that weapon fires, Alpha is gone. His voice cracked like thunder. All ships, target that cannon. Give the Marines their chance. Human ships surged forward, shields blazing, guns firing non-stop. Alien vessels closed in to block them. The void filled with fire as both sides clashed in a storm of destruction. On the surface, Hale placed his hand on the console again. Helios, activate the arsenal. Give us everything you've got. The ruins answered with a deep, earth-shaking hum. Towers flared like suns. The ground split open, revealing colossal silos hidden for centuries. From within, missiles taller than buildings rose into the sky, their warheads glowing with impossible energy. The Marines watched in awe. This was not just old human technology. This was a weapon built by ancestors who had feared enemies even greater than the current alien empire. The AI spoke. Arsenal online. Awaiting target. Hale's eyes locked on the Titan tearing at the shield. Target that monster first. Then burn their fleet. The silos roared, launching their payloads. The missiles streaked into the sky, leaving trails of light. The Titan turned its head, roaring as the first warhead slammed into it. The explosion was blinding, ripping the creature apart in a storm of fire. Its death cry echoed across Alpha before silence fell. Above, the remaining missiles streaked into orbit, heading straight for the alien fleet. The aliens panicked, screaming orders. Some ships tried to flee, others fired wildly. The missiles struck. Alien dreadnoughts split apart, cruisers shattered. Entire wings of fighters burned in seconds. Even the alien flagship shook under the barrage, its weapon flickering dangerously. For the first time in centuries, the alien empire's greatest fleet faltered, but as the smoke cleared, the flagship still remained. Damaged, burning, but alive. Its weapon coils glowed one last time, and the alien leader's voice echoed across every channel. If we fall, humanity falls with us. The superweapon fired, aimed directly at the Iron Resolve. The alien superweapon fired. A beam of blinding plasma cut through the void, burning a path straight toward the Iron Resolve. Inside the human flagship, alarms screamed. Crew members braced for impact. Captain Ford gripped his chair, his voice steady even as death closed in. All power to shields. Hold this line or humanity dies with us. The beam struck. The ship shook violently, metal groaning, panels exploding in sparks. Shields flared red, layers collapsing one by one. The crew cried out as the massive warship was hurled off course, spinning through fire and debris, but somehow the Iron Resolve held. Its shields were shattered, its armor torn. Yet the heart of the ship still beat. Ford coughed smoke from his lungs and barked orders. Weapons online. Return fire now! The flagship's cannons lit up, ripping through alien cruisers. Other human ships rallied around their wounded leader, forming a protective wall. But the alien fleet pressed harder, determined to finish what they started. On Alpha's surface, the Marines stared up at the burning sky. The Titan beast was gone, but the alien horde still swarmed. Hale's squad fought through smoke and fire, their rifles glowing hot from endless bursts. The ruins shook as Helios's drones clashed with alien war machines. Hale slammed a new magazine into his rifle. We can't let that flagship fire again. If they take out the fleet, Alpha and Earth both are lost. The AI of Helios answered coldly. Primary arsenal requires recharge. Estimated time, 6 minutes. 6 minutes felt like a lifetime. The alien council aboard their flagship watched the battlefield with fury. The humans are weak. One more strike and they are finished. Charge the weapon again. The coils of the alien cannon began to glow once more. Ford saw it. His voice rang across comms. All ships, listen carefully. That cannon cannot fire again. We hit it with everything, no matter the cost. The battered human fleet surged forward. Frigates, cruisers, and carriers launched one last desperate assault, charging into alien fire. Ships exploded left and right, but they kept coming. The alien armada opened fire. Plasma beams ripped through human hulls, scattering wreckage into the void. Yet still, the humans advanced, using every last ounce of courage to protect Alpha below. On the ground, Hale looked at his squad. If the fleet falls, Helios never has a chance to finish the job. We've got to buy them time. They sprinted through the ruins, cutting down alien soldiers who tried to breach the core chamber. Blood and smoke filled the air, but the Marines fought like demons. Every trigger pull a promise that they would not bow. The AI's voice echoed again. Warning, enemy forces breaching multiple access points. Core integrity at risk. Then seal it, Hale growled. If you've got defenses, now's the time. Energy barriers slammed shut across corridors. Ancient drones formed kill zones, unleashing deadly fire on intruders. But still, alien forces poured in, relentless in their hunger to destroy Helios. The superweapon above finished charging. Its coils pulsed like a sun ready to erupt. On the iron resolve, Captain Ford knew what he had to do. He stood tall, ignoring the blood dripping from his temple. We ram the cannon. Signal all ships. We break their weapon, even if it breaks us too. The order stunned the crew. To ram the alien flagship was suicide, but Ford's voice was calm, ironclad. If Earth is to live, then we give our lives here. The fleet received his command. Human ships adjusted course. Together, battered and burning, they aimed straight at the alien flagship. The alien council sneered. Fools! They dare to sacrifice themselves against us. But the humans did not hesitate. They accelerated, shields gone, weapons firing non-stop. Plasma fire tore through their hulls, yet they did not turn away. One frigate smashed into an alien cruiser, detonating in a blinding fireball. A human destroyer plowed into a dreadnought, ripping both ships apart. The void became a graveyard of heroes, each sacrifice carving a path closer to the enemy weapon. The iron resolve roared ahead, engines blazing, heading straight for the alien cannon. On the surface, Hale's squad fought hand-to-hand now, knives and fists against alien claws. Blood splattered across the ruins as they held the core chamber door. Ortiz grinned through broken teeth. They're not taking this from us. The AI's voice cut through the chaos. Arsenal recharged. Ready to fire, Hale slammed his fist on the console. Target their flagship! And this. The silos opened again, releasing a storm of glowing warheads into the sky. They streaked upward faster than light, cutting through atmosphere toward orbit. On the alien flagship, alarms blared. The council screamed in panic. Interceptors, destroy them! Stop those missiles now! Alien fighters swarmed, blasting at the incoming storm. Many missiles exploded in fireballs, but too many slipped through. The iron resolve was seconds away from impact. Its battered frame glowed red from the heat of re-entry. Captain Ford stood tall on the bridge, staring at the alien cannon, filling the screen. The alien weapon fired, its final blast screaming toward the planet. At the same time, the human missiles struck the flagship. Explosions tore through its hull, fire bursting from every seam. The cannon's glow faltered, then shook violently. The iron resolve plunged straight into the alien superweapon. There was a blinding flash. The void disappeared into fire. The void was fire. The iron resolve vanished into the heart of the alien superweapon, detonating in a blinding storm. The alien flagship shuddered, tearing apart from within. Its cannon, once glowing with unstoppable power, exploded like a dying star. Every ship in orbit trembled as shockwaves ripped through space. Alien cruisers were torn apart. Human vessels were hurled away, battered but alive. For a moment, the battlefield fell silent, nothing but burning wreckage drifting across the sky. On Alpha's surface, Marines raised their eyes to the heavens. The cannon's light had vanished. Only smoke and shattered debris remained. Sergeant Hale's chest heaved as he whispered, "They did it." Ford did it, but the war was not over. The alien armada still circled Alpha, furious and desperate. With their flagship crippled, they unleashed every remaining ship at once. Plasma fire rained down, determined to scorch Alpha and bury Helios before it could finish awakening. The ruins shook as bombs struck. The ancient AI spoke with calm finality. Primary arsenal fully restored. Planetary-scale retaliation possible. Confirm order. Hale looked at his squad. Their armor was broken. Their ammo nearly gone, but none wavered. Do it. Humanity didn't come here to die. We came here to win. The towers of Alpha blazed with light. Energy surged across the planet, feeding into the silos. Hundreds of missiles lifted into the sky, each glowing like a star being born. The alien fleet panicked. "Intercept them! Stop them!" But it was already too late. The missiles tore into orbit, weaving past enemy fire, unstoppable. They struck the alien armada in waves of destruction. Cruisers shattered. Dreadnoughts split in half. Fighters turned to dust. One after another, ships vanished in fire. The alien fleet, the pride of their empire, was erased in minutes. Above Alpha, only drifting wreckage remained. The few surviving alien vessels turned and fled, their commanders too shaken to continue. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's most feared armada had been destroyed. On the ground, silence fell. The Marines sat in the ruins, their bodies trembling, their weapons smoking. Ortiz laughed weakly through blood and dust. "Guess we showed them, huh?" Hale nodded, though his eyes carried no joy. He looked at the glowing core of Helios. "We didn't just fight them off. We unlocked something they feared, something they wanted to keep from us." The AI spoke again. "Helios is now fully operational. Its arsenal is available to humanity. Its knowledge may reshape your future." Hale felt the weight of the words. Helios was no mere weapon. It was a vault of power, one that could either save Earth or destroy it. And now, humanity held the key. Above, the remnants of the human fleet limped into orbit. Burned and broken, yet victorious. Captain Ford's sacrifice became legend that day. Every surviving ship broadcast his last command, etched forever into history. Humanity holds the line. Across the galaxy, word spread. Alien worlds trembled at the news. The empire that once claimed to rule the stars had been shattered by the species they mocked. The alien council, broken and scattered, whispered in fear. Humanity was no longer prey. Back on Earth, transmissions arrived days later. Millions watched in silence as footage showed the burning alien fleet and the ruins of Alpha shining with light. The message was clear. Humanity had stood against extinction and erased those who tried to take their future. But whispers grew darker too. What was Helios? Who built it? And if humanity now controlled its arsenal, what would they become? The ruins pulsed one last time, sending a signal into the void. Hale did not notice, but far away, across uncharted space, something answered. A deeper shadow stirred, one that even the aliens had feared. The story of Alpha was not the end. It was only the beginning.